Hello, guys, gals, non-binary pals, suspicious save points, incongruous background music, and other. Welcome to the Sci Fi Lab. I'm your host, DJ Squared, and my co-host could not be here today, but with me is a special guest.
My name is Jon Lewis from Troy University.
Very good. So we have, like I was telling you before, we have our standard interview questions, so we'll just sort of move right into that. So the question we ask absolutely everyone is, what was your very first experience with science fiction?
I would probably guess the David Lynch Dune film. I hadn't read the books, but saw the film in the theater. A friend dragged me to it. And the Harkonnens, I recall, were pretty terrifying. I was pretty young. I think I was 10.
Got dragged to a Dune film, to the Dune film at 10 years old.
Maybe 12, somewhere in there though. The Harkonnens and the heart valves. That was intense. And not in the book.
Which you didn't know until...
Which didn't know. Either way. Wouldn't have known either way.
Yeah. That's interesting. Usually we get campier intros to sci-fi. Like mine was Forbidden Planet.
Okay.
Most other people have like the original Star Wars trilogy or stuff like that.
Well, that kind of gets into a whole...
We need to get into a
definitional argument, right? Because then, I wouldn't. I mean, Star Wars I saw when I was 5.
Yeah.
In June of 1977, my father took me. He had no idea what it was. He just knew it was this thing that you had to see, and so we went. And I mean, that from that standpoint, that was utterly transformative, and certainly science fiction from one point of view. But I would call it more space opera. And
science fantasy.
Yeah, science fantasy. I would call Dune a little more science fiction-y.
That's fair. That's fair. I was just...
But yeah,
you know,
I mean, there's nothing like the original Star Wars in 1977 for me.
I wouldn't know. I haven't seen it. I'm one of those people. Yeah. Like, I know enough about it through like cultural osmosis.
Yeah,
that I can.
It's inescapable.
I can like talk about it without anybody realizing that I've never seen any of these movies. But nah, never seen him before. Probably never gonna. I might, but it's not very high on the list of to be watched things.
I can see that. There was a time when it was my constant just sort of companion when I was grading, particularly in grad school when I was grading for professors. I would just sort of have that on as background, and it just kind of kept a rhythm.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, so next up, I have many questions, but only so many of them apply to any one person. So do you have like a favorite subgenre of science fiction, or speculative fiction?
Not particularly. I kind of bounce around. I'm trying to fill in as many gaps as I can in my own reading. But I think that the most sort of interesting is the historical science fiction. Science fiction's, bleeding edge things from the past, like the invention of radar and sonar in Cryptonomicon. I think that's really interesting. Or the creation of digital memory. Almost
an alternate history type.
Not so much as alternate as like in Cryptonomicon, it's real history. It's Alan Turing and people like that inventing the computer.
Okay, so less of a science fiction, more of a...
Well, it's there because it's the science is of that moment, and nobody had thought of that before, so they're making it up as they go. So it's bleeding edge for them. It's now obviously a given.
We're used to it.
Right.
It's fine.
It defines everything we do, and for them it was, could we do this? And it's interesting the way that they come up with ideas like memory. Yeah.
Brought to you by a podcast, so
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what we're doing. So is that what you're currently reading?
No, at the moment I just started River Solomon's new book, the Something of Ghosts, and I can't remember the full title. It's set on a generational ship, and I've just started it, and it's sort of modeled on antebellum American South. So it's
nice.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's got some really interesting ideas about race and class so far.
What do you mean by generational ship?
Meaning it's a ship that's traveling between star systems, as best I can figure at this point. I know almost nothing about the book. I'm only like 50 pages in. But if you know the books Aurora by Kim Stanley Robinson or Seven Eves by Neil Stephenson, there's that sense of, or like in Wall-E, right? The ship that leaves and they're just out there for generations.
Okay,
Then they come back.
Generation ship.
Yeah.
All right. I really liked Wall-E.
I love Wall-E.
I've known so many people who don't like Wall-E, and I'm just like, but it's adorable.
My mother hates Wall-E. I don't understand.
So does my sister.
I think it's the voice. I think it's the
I think it's the
voice.
the lack of voice for her. She just really doesn't like silent films. It's like, we have a silent protagonist here.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I try to tell my mother that's sort of the point. The silence is
exactly
part of his isolation.
You know, if they don't like that, then
if they don't like it. They don't like it.
They don't like it. That's
exactly.
Fine. Do you have any do you have anything you've been watching recently? Doesn't have to be science fiction, but it can.
My wife and I have been watching a lot of British murder mysteries. Apparently, every village in London, in and around London and all of the UK has multiple serial killers.
Oh yeah,
always at work.
I mean, like when you're confined to such a small area.
Yeah, and just lots and lots of murders. The one we just started, it's a PBS show called, it's BBC showing on PBS. It's called Unforgotten. And it's really good. Nicola Walter is the DCI, and the story, they're looking at very cold cases, and it's really well done. I'm always
in the market for a good murder mystery.
These are good, and we also really like, we always come back to Endeavor, which is a prequel to Inspector Morse, if you know that show.
No.
But Endeavor's beautifully shot. It's short seasons, 4 or 5 episodes.
Well, it's BBC, so I'd
it's
assume.
just gorgeous. It's all shot in and around Oxford.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my contact with BBC is in the very mainstream, Doctor Who, Sherlock, Merlin area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we watch Merlin. We like Merlin and Sherlock, of course. Everybody watches Sherlock.
Everyone watches Sherlock. I only like the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, we were not that thrilled with the later episodes.
Thought the 3rd was garbage. Didn't bother watching the 4th.
We didn't finish the 4th. Yeah.
Everyone. Okay, there's this 2-hour-long video on YouTube called Sherlock is Garbage, and here's why. It was super cathartic for me.
I can see that.
This dude goes off talking about how Moffat is terrible and how he's ruined Sherlock and also Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, because apparently he did a TV show about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
I know a lot of Whovians.
He despise. Yeah.
Moffat.
Oh yeah. That's me. Yeah.
I
Couldn't get past halfway through the 11th Doctor.
It's funny how people have doctors they just will not watch episodes on. Whole seasons. Yeah. There's no, hate it. Won't. And then they go back or they go forward.
It's nope, not this one. Goodbye. Nope. I kind of wanted to give Capaldi a shot, but then I just missed his entire run because I was busy with things, and now Jodie Whittaker is doing.
I haven't seen any of the new episodes.
I've seen gifs of them.
Right.
But yeah, I have no idea.
So I have no idea. I cannot comment on new seasons.
No, neither can I.
I'm a Tom Baker person. Like a lot of people from the old days.
I think that was my dad too. He was very much a Tom. I mean, my first Doctor was Eccleston. Right. It was number 9. So.
I think Baker is 5.
4.
4. Thank you.
Yes. I have gone back and watched a few episodes here and there. I actually watched the unaired pilot of, the very first season of Doctor
black
Who.
And white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was difficult to find because you have to go to 3 different YouTube channels because each of them only has a piece of the episode.
Okay. Yeah.
They all started out with having the entire episode, but then parts of it got taken down due to copyright.
Of course.
Of course it did. It's the unaired pilot. Like, they never made money off of this. Come on, guys.
And I don't think you can buy it from Amazon or anything like that.
No.
It's totally not available, so why not show it?
Why not just put it on YouTube?
Exactly.
It's fine. Also, if you've ever seen the unaired pilot of Sherlock,
it
was also a better version.
Yes, I thought so.
That was the better version of the first episode.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the actual
energy.
pilot.
Yeah,
There's the actual pilot.
Very much so.
We don't need to introduce Mycroft, okay?
Yeah.
Much as I like Mycroft as a minor character, it's really not necessary.
I like Stephen Fry's portrayal of Mycroft. I prefer that than Moffat.
That was Gatiss.
Sorry, you're right.
But one of the showrunners, you were right.
I'm on the right track.
You got that point. My favorite, it's like, sorry guys, my favorite version of Sherlock Holmes is actually the Robert Downey Jr. movies.
I love those. I think
They're
very
so
well
good.
done. They're very well done.
And they did the like text scroll on the screen first.
And I think that the Jude Law's Watson is much closer to the book character.
Yeah, like,
to the story characters.
He's an excellent Watson.
He's a soldier. That's part of his roguishness, I think, that doesn't always come through. It becomes this fuss budget in a lot of productions. Exactly. And I don't care for that. Yeah.
Like, I just love Jude Law and Robert Downey Jr.'s like relation. Like, they have such great interactions, both like on screen and off screen, and I'm just like, yes, good. This is the kind of interaction I like to see.
Since he got sober, it seems like everybody has that relationship with Robert Downey Jr. He seems to be really affable now.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Been through the fire.
Yeah. Came out with multi-billion-dollar contracts.
Will be in 20 films as Tony Stark, I think, in the end.
Something
including,
like that.
Including cameos.
Something like that. I'm predicting that he's gonna become like the next Stan Lee. He's just gonna even when he's just gonna be in the background, you know.
If he survives, I have a feeling that they'll kill Tony off.
Don't talk about that.
You can have Iron Man without Tony Stark.
I know.
And they have. So.
I know. It's just
it would make sense though for that character to be the first and then the last of that. What do they call that? The four units.
Just like I don't even.
Just there's some term that the Marvel people use.
Yeah.
Blanking on, but they have 4 sets of films, and this is the end of the 4th.
Yeah.
As I understand it. So it makes sense for him to be the first character introduced, and then
the one killed off.
The one killed off. Yeah.
I'm not okay with that. You can kill off Captain America all you want, but
that would also make sense.
And I love all of the people talking online. It's just like, you can kill Captain America, you can kill Iron Man. If you touch Thor, I'm coming for you. Thor has suffered enough.
Then and Thor 3 was so good, everybody wants another.
Exactly. Ragnarok was excellent.
It's a perfect film.
It was so good. Like, that was a true sibling relationship right there between him and Loki.
Yeah, and Hela.
So good.
And Hela's so fun.
And Hela.
Blanchett is amazing.
Could you imagine just what it would have been like if they had actually all 3 grown up together?
You could almost see that from
it would be so great.
The relationships.
Thor's the awkward middle child because both of his siblings are just so goth.
And they're so much smarter than him, and he knows it.
Different types of intelligence. But
it doesn't bother him. I like that.
No.
He's just sort of, he accepts his limits there.
He also accepts that Loki is the chaotic neutral sibling.
Right.
And uses that to his advantage. Like, hey, you want to start the apocalypse for me?
Sure.
Yes!
We could do that.
Yes! That's how you support your chaotic neutral sibling. You ask them to start the apocalypse. And then to save all your people. And then in the next movie, they kill all of them off.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
Well, we don't know. We don't know if they're all dead. We know that.
I'm pretty sure they're all dead.
Who knows? Things can happen.
Pretty sure.
Some of these are immortal people. You know, they're tricky. I don't think we've seen the last of Loki.
Oh no.
Or Heimdall.
It's like, if anyone's gonna survive, it's gonna be Loki and Heimdall. Like just through the power of like fangirls noping them back into existence.
Yes, that and you know, there's something with the gauntlet. You know, Thanos is not going to be the only one to hold the gauntlet, I think.
No, probably not. Oh man, there was a different post online, and it was like, you know how Thanos in the comic books has this whole rivalry with Deadpool because of
that I don't know.
Okay, so here's the basics. The actual reason for Infinity War in the comics was that Thanos is in love with Death. She is, you know, the personification of death. He's in love with her. So he wants to kill everybody in the universe to give it to her as a present. Death is in love with Deadpool. Probably because he can't die. So, you know.
These perfect opposite attracting relationships.
Exactly. Yeah. She's Death. He can't die. It's cool.
It's a good immortal relationship.
Yeah. She'll never have to reap his soul.
Right. I can see that.
So, yeah.
And he's got a dry wit, you know.
Yeah, so Death is in love with Deadpool. Thanos is in love with Death. So there's people online that are like, okay, so but in Infinity War, Thanos' snap only kills half the universe. So what if he kept snapping, trying to kill Deadpool until it gets down to the two of them, and he just stops? He's just like, nah, I'm done. Because Deadpool has survived that long already.
But it's Zeno's paradox, right? As you get closer and closer to killing half and half and half and half.
Yeah, it'll get to
never
just
get there.
him and... No, it'll just get to him and Deadpool.
Well, I suppose you could get to just two.
To him and Deadpool, and then he'll be like, I can't do it. It's gonna kill me.
Chance of dropping dead himself. So yeah,
exactly.
That'll be trouble.
And Deadpool had already survived that long in the first place. So that's hilarious. Also, there's your comic backstory. Right
Thank
there.
you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's amazing how much I know about comic books for having like never read any of them.
It's one of those. It's like Star Wars. You just sort of ingest from the culture. You don't always have to have a primary relationship.
Yeah. That, and also I used to watch a comic book reviewer.
Okay.
His screen name is Linkara. It's very good stuff. The show's called Atop the Fourth Wall, and he like asks people for really bad comics to review. So it's great. So I get a lot of my comics knowledge from him.
I have to go and shop for the Shuri spinoff, the Nettie Okorafor.
Yeah.
I gotta get those.
Yeah, I should probably read those too because
they look really good. And
very good.
Nettie's amazing.
Yep. And the only way I'd be okay with them killing off Tony Stark looping back around is if Riri Williams was the newest.
Shuri becomes Iron Man. I can see that.
Well, the newest incarnation of Iron Man is like a black girl.
Right.
So, if she became the next Iron Man, I'd be all for it.
That'd be fine.
I know. I'm also excited for Into the Spider-Verse. Mm-hmm. Have you seen anything about that?
I know about a game.
No.
And then there's a sort of spin-off, right?
No.
Okay. Please continue.
Into the Spider-Verse is it's a CGI animated film.
Okay.
Where I'm pretty sure what happens is all of these different alternate universe Spider-Men, they just sort of get like stuck in the same universe. So they have to find their way back or something. So there's like Peter Parker Spider-Man, there's Miles Morales, there's like Spider-Gwen, Spider-Ham, who is voiced by John Mulaney, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
The animation's gorgeous.
Okay, it's clicking something. I've seen something.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, animation's gorgeous. Really looking forward to it.
I was thinking of the new game, the PS4 game.
The PS4 game that just came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before Red Dead Redemption, which now everybody talks about.
Now everybody's talking about Red Dead Redemption. I'm just like, no, I need more Spider-Man content. All right, do you have any... Oh, this will be our last question, too.
Okay.
Do you have any recommendations for our listeners?
Well, I'd start with anything and everything, as I mentioned her before, Nettie Okorafor. I teach her work in my sci-fi class and in my fantasy class. I think the starting point with her is her novel Lagoon, set in and around Lagos, Nigeria. I think it's sort of a really interesting centering place for her work, and then just get everything else. She's the top of the game right now. I think she's
nice,
spectacular.
And who is this again?
Nnedi Okorafor, Nnedi Okorafor, OK.
Yeah, it's the first thing that comes up. It's not a very common name.
No,
at the very least on Google, it's not.
Right, and she's prolific. So she's publishing 2 books a year now. She's into comics.
Dang.
So she's on fire.
I mean, more power to her if you can.
She's a storytelling machine right now.
Yeah.
And a really nice person. Yeah, and very funny on Twitter. Follow her on Twitter.
Just plugging all the things. Yeah.
Sure, she's great.
Cool. Anything else?
I know he's more mainstream than, but it fits with that historical science fiction I was mentioning before. But Neil Stephenson, particularly the Baroque cycle. It's long. It's involved. It's an investment just to carry it around. But
that's why God made ebooks.
Yeah, the 3,000 pages are. It's just delicious. Lots of
Brandon Sanderson sort of.
Yeah, it's as he says, people who think he's long-winded should read the 5 volumes that he read by Winston Churchill about the Duke of Marlborough. As he says, you can match my books to his and just in pounds.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to be the end of this episode. I'm DJ.
I'm Jon Lewis.
And thanks for listening.